I was before I came here to Israel in October, I was in Ukraine a few times, and I spent some time on the front line there, and I was observing the Russian and the Ukrainian conflict. And although that's much more intense than this conflict in terms of the casualty rates, in terms of the things like artillery, tanks, aircraft, which both sides have, it's also, I would say, in a strange way, it's an easier conflict to fight because you have two uniformed armies fighting each other, identifiable as such on the whole, not always. This conflict here in Gaza is much more similar to the kind of wars we fought in Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, and other places, Northern Ireland even in the case of the UK, where you have the enemy, Israel's enemy, is blended in among the civilian population. They don't wear uniform. They often move without weapons so that you can't identify them as a terrorist even by that. And you're faced with a very, very difficult situation when you're trying to kill these people who are among the civilian population. And that's not all. This battlefield in Gaza is probably the most treacherous and complex, difficult battlefield to fight on that any army's ever fought on, because Hamas had decades to prepare this battlefield for when Israel did carry out an attack, which was always going to be an inevitability, given what Hamas was trying to do to Israel. And of course, you know, with the booby traps, landmines, prepared, pre-planned sniper positions, ambush positions, places to get away, all these sort of things. Then on top of that, you add the complexity of the tunnel network underneath Gaza. There's hundreds of kilometers of tunnels prepared over decades with huge amounts of resources. Very tough environment to deal with. The terrorists operate mainly from the tunnels inside Gaza. I've been into these tunnels underneath Gaza, and I've seen how extremely well prepared they are. They're basically concrete structures on the whole, concrete floors, concrete walls, concrete ceilings. They have, in almost every single one, if not every tunnel, has multiple booby traps in them. They have sniper positions within. They have even blast walls and heavy blast doors, so the tunnels can be compartmentalized to make it even more difficult to fight inside them. And I don't think any army has ever had to fight in such a complex and extensive tunnel network as this is. Then you've got the civilian population, and the civilian population is being used deliberately by Hamas as a weapon against Israel. Hamas's tactics are to try and force Israel to kill as many of their as many Gazan civilians as possible. This is a unique situation, I think. I haven't come across another enemy that has deliberately wanted its enemy to kill its own civilian population. And the reason for that, of course, is to encourage delegitimization of Israel, hatred of Israel, to isolation of Israel around the world, because Israel is killing innocent civilians, and Israel unavoidably is killing innocent civilians, but the problem is made more difficult because Hamas wants that to happen. It's a real unique and terrible problem. And it works every time, because every time Israel gets involved in a conflict with Gaza, with Hamas in Gaza or other terrorists in Gaza, the world condemns Israel. Whatever Israel does, it's wrong. The world condemns it. So that's another complex. Then you've got the hostages, many hostages inside Gaza. I don't know of any army that's had to fight in this sort of environment, and an urban environment is notoriously difficult to fight in. I don't know of any other army that's had to fight with hostages in this situation, which have to be, of course, very much taken into account by the Israeli Defense Force. And there's many other complexities. The final major one of stress is the intense spotlight on what's going on in Gaza from the world, the media, from international organizations, human rights groups, the UN, the EU, governments, etc., which of course make it even more complicated to fight because of the scrutiny that Israel's under.